Overwatch. Could you talk us through, your involvement for our charity term?
Hello, my name is Michael Hansen. I'm 24 years old. I am a esports head coach at the University of Mount St. Mary's in Emmitsburg, Maryland. But I believe I did 2 series with y'all. Everyone that I worked with was great, especially all the other casters.
Do you have any fun memories from that day in particular, though? Is there any memory that really sticks out for you?
Honestly, just the entire day was fun. I remember the first donation coming in. It opened up the floodgates. We saw a lot more donations coming after it, but I believe the first $30 or $50 donation, and then right after it, it was mirrored by someone else. And that was probably the most exciting part for me, was seeing how many people quickly rallied behind. They just wanted to see someone break the ice first. So
Yeah, we love it when our community really gets behind fundraising. And like you said, it's really that icebreaker that starts it. How do you feel your role in casting helps support charity tournaments like this one?
the relationship between casters and people who are watching is a very fine line. The way that I always think about it is that, we're the people who provide the information. You see us on screen a lot, you hear our voice almost the entire time. If it's not my voice, it's one of my co-casters. So having good casters on is always one of the biggest things for these charity tournaments. You want to have people who are friendly, who have a lot of energy, being able to go up, but also be able to talk about the serious things as well. And I believe we did a fine job of being able to caress that line of, when the action got going, being able to support it, and then when we needed to talk about the serious parts, that also was there as well. But the casters, the relationship with the audience is the biggest thing. You want to make the audience feel engaged. You want to make them feel good about themselves as well, is another thing. So that's why I believe every caster had done this. They had and whenever something came in, that was the first thing that we were mentioning. That was the first thing we were bringing up, because this event was all about the people, the donations that they were making, and the contributions that they were making as well.
You're absolutely right. It's live stream fundraising is really about the celebration of the people within the space. Really, it's their community rallying behind them. You mentioned that as a caster, it was needed to talk about some of the heavy moments. What did you feel emotionally talking about, the national suicide rate for veterans and military members? How does that impact you?
Absolutely. That's also part of the reason why I signed on, is I do have a lot of family who has served time in the military, and they've talked openly about some of the struggles that they had. My granddad is one of them. He was a colonel in the Air Force, and he saw a lot of, unfortunately, a lot of his friends had passed earlier on, and he would talk about it. They did pass by their own harm. It wasn't natural causes most of the time. So for myself, it was one of those things that I wanted to get behind, because it was a big problem. And still is a big problem. There's a lot of work to be done here to be able to get to the goal, but we're doing the right thing by being able to bring it up. And I've always been a firm believer of, we can't change the past, but we can always better the future. And the only way that we can better the future is being able to talk about the past in a more, it doesn't, like, I was about to say serious, but it's more of a open discussion. Being able to really break behind the layers of why things are happening, and having an open discussion about it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, well, for one, thank you so much for your family's service, and my condolences to your family members and your friends who have died by suicide. And I think you bring up an important note. It's of course, it's heavy conversations, but those are vital conversations to have, to talk openly about mental health struggles. And of course, asking people if they're going to hurt themselves does not plant the idea. These are just conversations that we need to be having.
Mhm.
So you mentioned how joyous each donation made you feel and how you're keeping a close eye on that. Do you have any tips for casters, maybe considering doing charity work in the future, specifically through, live stream charities?
Absolutely. It's a lot of fun. That's my first and foremost thing. It's going to be as fun as you make it. And that's what a lot of people don't realize what they're getting into when they set up a charity event, is that, the magic behind it is the effort that you put into it. To answer your question specifically, for casters who are getting into, charity spaces, it's one of those things, you have to be on top of your game, unfortunately. Like, it's going to be one of those things, you got to be on the ball the entire way through, just like any other cast, but you got to take it a step above, because you're talking about heavy hitting features, and if you want people to rally behind your cause, you're gonna have to give emotions to it. When you're doing a charity cast, it's a much different animal, where you need to raise the emotions, you need to bring them back down. You bring up different moments, you pull it back for others, you have those serious conversations, and then you be lighthearted. It's one of those things that you can't be monotone, and I am a firm believer in casting to study speech. I know a lot of casters who have studied speech, and it really does enhance their ability to enhance the emotions behind it, and that's where you see some of the best moments in casting coming forward. So if you're gonna cast a tournament, and specifically a charity tournament, you got to be very prepared to step outside your comfort zone and be able to flip the emotions on, kind of like a dime. You're going to go from very high highs of, gameplay, to talking about a serious subject. And that's something that, is very tough, and it's something that not everyone can do.
You bring up a lot of great points about the emotional factors that you're pulling in. You are the face of the charity during these events, and you need to have those highs of the gameplay when the donations come in, and then you also need to pull it back when you're talking about the cause and the impact of the cause itself. And remind me, were you one of the casters who got our complimentary merch package?
I did. So I still have the t-shirt. I actually work out. That's my new workout t-shirt, and I absolutely love it. And just because the gym I actually go to does have a lot of veterans, and I didn't know that until I started working out there, and that's why one of the reasons why I start wearing it a lot more out, and a lot more to gym places where there are a lot of veterans, and they have came up to me and just said thank you, and they're all behind the message as well. I also love the what's it called, wristband. I wear it all the time. I absolutely love the wristband.
That's really warming to hear. I also agree that those t-shirts are some of the most comfortable t-shirts I have ever put on my body. And I wear them all the time as well, because, for one, I live on a base. Like you have that intense concentration of veterans at your gym. I have intense concentration of active duty around me, and it's a wonderfully comfortable t-shirt, and it can spread the message, what we're trying to do at Stop Soldier Suicide.